Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of module 13. We're going to continue with quadratic formula. We're going to look at how to write our answers in simplest radical form when our answers are not perfect numbers like they were in the first video. So in this video, the square root is not going to give us a good number. So we're going to leave our answer exactly without rounding. So the quadratic formula, again, you've seen it before. Let's go ahead and get started with it. Find the roots of the equation. Leave your answer in simplest radical form. So first thing we want to do is move the 12. So 4x squared minus 8x minus 6 equals 0. So a equals 4, b equals -8, c equals -6. Plug them in to the right spots. This is an exact what we did in the first video. So I'm just going to kind of go quickly through this. Put -8 in. Remember your parentheses. Make sure everything's in the right spot. Now we start simplifying. -8 is +8, plus or minus square root of. When you type this in, you get the square root of 160. 2 times 4 is 8. Square root of 160, if you type that in your calculator, you get like 12.6 or 12.7 or something like that, but that's a rounded number. We don't want to have a rounded number. We want to have an exact answer. So we're going to go back to what we learned about radicals. We got to break that down. All right, so we're going to take that 160 and we're going to look at two numbers that multiply to 160, two numbers that multiply to 16, and two numbers that multiply to 10. I see a pair of 4s. That's good. Why? I can write that as 4 squared times 2 times 5. A pair of 4s makes a 4 on the outside. So you see how that happened. Back down to my work there. The 4 comes to the outside. The leftover 2 and 5 get multiplied to make the square root of 10 over 8. Okay, now that denominator of 8 goes with both parts of the numerator. So if I split this fraction up, I have 8 over 8 plus or minus 4 radical 10 over 8. And now I can reduce. 8 and 8 reduce to 1 over 1, and 4 and 8 reduce to 1 over 2. So I could rewrite this as 1, 8 over 8 is 1, plus or minus 1 radical 10, or just radical 10, over 2. That's one way of reducing and simplifying and leaving your answer in simplest radical form. That is one way of doing that. There is another way. I'm going to show you the same problem, reducing it a little bit differently. So back to where we started. Same, everything's the same. Just make sure you're with me here. We got 8 plus or minus 4 radical 10 divided by 8. Rather than splitting the two fractions up into 8 over 8 plus 4 radical 10 over 8, I'm going to reduce all three numbers on the outside. It's essentially the same thing I did with the previous method, but I'm going to do 8, 4, and 8. What can I divide out of 8, 4, and 8? I can take 4 out of all of those. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, 4 divided by 4 is 1, 8 divided by 4 is 2. It's the number that comes out of all three numbers. So then I could write my answer as 2 plus or minus 1 radical 10, or just radical 10, over 2. The 2's do not cancel here when you write it this way, and that's my final answer. It's the only example we're going to look at today. You're going to do more quadratic formula. You're just going to be leaving your answers looking like this. So that concludes lesson 2.